We are live. Before I present my guest for today, I want everybody to know who's listening. He is unstoppable. He's talented. He is a grinder, a hustler. But most of all, he's a great human being. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Kodaq Jonez. Welcome to the show,
I
brother.
appreciate the intro, bro. Everything's good, man. I appreciate the intro, man. Everything's good. Keeping busy. Trying to, like you said, I'm trying to grind, man. Just hate just sitting down. So I'm just trying to keep busy, man. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
f-
Glad to see you
I,
doing
I,
big things.
I feel you, brother. I
Yeah, man.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I
Yeah,
get
man.
it. Especially with this
Yeah, I
pandemic,
remember.
it's been difficult. But you
Hmm.
have something amazing going on, which is bikes will save the world. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm getting a lot of good positive feedback. I'm getting a lot of participation in regards to that. It's been a really dope experience. Bikes to Save the World just started because like it was nothing else to do during the pandemic. Like
Hmm.
everything was shut down. Luckily, I was already an avid cyclist. I just noticed everyone started to pick up bikes after that. It was just such a beautiful thing to see, especially people of color. Picking up cycling. And later people realized like how important it really is. It was helping with their mental health. It really helped with their physical health, and just keeping busy was overall the most important thing to do in times where isolation and staying inside was the priority to do. It
Yeah.
can take a toll on you so much. And luckily, the only thing that was never restricted was cycling, doing distance cycling. So it was really good to see people out there on the roads, man. Seriously, to a point where there's no bikes at bike shops now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome. You brought back some type of happiness, man. Because I remember when I was a kid, growing up in Puerto Rico, I used to love riding bikes, man. Uh, and I see a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
on them. My wife, who's never have ridden a bike before, I got her to, after I saw you, after so many years, I saw you again. I rented a bike and I taught her how to ride a bike.
Awesome, dude. Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. That you have no idea how happy that makes me, man. I know
yeah,
a lot of cats that did that. Like they ain't ride in years, and then they just picked it up, or have this passion to ride, and then just start, and it's just such a huge stress reliever. Like and I hope I really hope you will both continue that. They ride together. I always say, the couple that ride together stay together. So
yeah,
say you
yeah.
get a bike too, brother. You know.
I'm definitely thinking about it. With me is you know, I don't uh like riding a bike in the city. I like everything to be open. That's it was therapeutic. I just brings me back when I was a child, and I used to take these long bike ridings, and I enjoyed every bit of it. Here, because we're more city like, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But
Hmm.
the other day I did a shirt for my buddy. He's doing mountain bike riding, and
Hmm.
I sit in the phone with him, and he's just hours explaining how fun it is, and he loves the adrenaline. And then I have a couple of buddies in Puerto Rico who also have taken bike riding, mountain riding, and
Hmm.
they love it. They love it.
Oh man, you just reminded me of interacting with someone. Me and a group of friends every Sunday we ride actually to this spot in Elizabeth.
Mm.
Grand total is around 36 miles, and it's this place called the Coffee House in Elizabeth. And the owner of the coffee house, she sees a whole bunch of people just show up on bikes and stuff like that, and she uh, showed me videos. She literally got up, showed me videos of her brother in, I believe, Brazil. Started a bike group with a bunch of friends, and I was just like, "Yo, please, here's my card. Here's what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
BikesWillSaveTheWorld.com. I would love to get his feedback, and I would love to get just touch base with him on all that.
That's
This
that's
has
awesome.
been really developing into something that I'm trying to get internationally. Like, you should be honored, brother, because one of the shirts, I got a bunch of shirts printed for you, and one of the shirts just hit Switzerland. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That was
Oh,
dope.
that's
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
yeah. Oh, I gotta tag you in that. Yeah, brother. Yeah, a really cool dude from Plainfield. Actually, no. He's not from Patterson. Actually, he moved out to to Switzerland maybe a few years ago, and like we just met because of cycling, because we had a lot of cycling friends. And he was like, "Yo, how much are those shirts?" And I was just like, "Yo, yeah." They're like, this amount of money, and it actually costs more to ship it than the
Then
cost of the
actually,
shirt. Yeah. But he just hit me up on a Venmo, be like, "Yeah, I know it costs a lot. Yo, here you go." And I just really appreciate that. Thanks a
that's
lot
what's
for
up,
putting that
man.
next
That's
in the world.
love. That's love.
Shirt by Dio.
Yeah, thank you. Bikes really unite people, man. Like, believe it or
Yeah.
not, they do. It's a lot of people in that world, in that industry, man, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
What you started, because I remember you back in the day. You was like, fuck getting my license. I'm riding everywhere. I don't need a license. My bike, I'll drive it anywhere. But it's anywhere. But then as the year progressed, you started to do these cycles and these long trails. Like, how did that develop? How did you start doing that?
Just the evolution of just growth is what got me into like becoming a distance cyclist. Like you remember, like before even I started working with you, we
Mhm.
go way back, almost damn near 10 years.
Yes.
It wasn't really like fuck getting my license. It was just like traffic is crazy. I see way too many accidents. I know people
Yes.
complaining about driving, complaining about all this stuff. And when I graduated college, fresh out of college, it was just hard to find work. I graduated as a filmmaker in
Mm.
2008 during the
Yeah.
heart of the recession. Couldn't find work, so I was at a coffee shop in Hoboken. So my commute to the coffee shop made no sense to take a bus. And if I had to open the shop, I had to wake up at 3 to get there at 4:30. So it just made sense. I saved up a little cash I could. Went to James Vincent back when it was on Palisade Avenue. Got a Barracuda bike, a mountain bike, and rode to work every day. And then when I started, and that
Wow.
just got me everywhere. And then we worked in North Bergen, so I wound up riding 5 miles every day, 10 miles total, to work every day. And it was like I even rode after Sandy. Remember when we were stuck there for like 2 3 days?
Yeah.
And I rode my bike after Sandy. You know what I'm saying? And it was just it was honestly like it was very therapeutic to get to work riding because you weren't dealing with traffic, you weren't dealing with road rage and stuff like that. You just bob and weave through the craziness.
Yeah.
And
Yes. That is true.
since then to now, I see more accidents, car accidents, than I will ever see bike accidents. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it just means I just felt more safe riding a bike than doing anything else.
Dude,
And
I feel
then
like nowadays they're giving license to anybody. Like it's gotten it's got I feel like me in my opinion because I can't I'm a high believer on fuck getting a license. Like it took me 25, about to be 26 to get married and have a kid to actually get my license. Because I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it. I don't know. I walked everywhere. I wasn't biking, but
yeah,
I walked everywhere and it was therapeutic for me.
but you know what? Honestly, that's a good thing and that's a head start, brother. I
Mhm.
have no kids. I have never been married, and guess what? I am 37 and I still don't have
Looking
my
young,
license.
looking young.
Yeah, yeah, man, trust me. It was biking helped with that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because if it wasn't, I'm saying it would be stress and cigars back in the day. You know,
Yes, I
but
remember. I remember one thing I do remember you said I have to stop smoking cigars. I needed so much bacon.
yes, yes, dude, man. One of the things that got me into being more into about health and fitness was I would never forget this one time. Like this is back when I was working at the Galaxy with you. You know what I'm saying? I had a really poor diet, was really careless, but I thought I was riding everywhere. But if you were riding
Mhm.
everywhere, doesn't mean everything inside was working okay. So
Yeah,
like this
yeah,
one
yeah.
woman, yeah, my roommate, my roommate's sister, who looks like Jan Brady, of all, uh, she looked in the fridge and she was like, "Did you eat all the bacon that her brother just put in there?" And I was like, "Yeah, I ate most of it, yeah, because I was mad at him." And she looked at me and like dead up honest, "You do know you're black and 30, right?"
Wow.
That just was like, "Oh shit,
Your
you're
cholesterol.
right." Yeah,
Oh
high blood
shit.
pressure, hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol. That kills more black people than anything else. So I was just like, yeah, I may need to cut back on that. So,
Yeah.
but that was way before I got into distance cycling. So after I started working with you, I went back to working at a coffee shop. I'm saying, just to make ends meet, and then still couldn't find work as a filmmaker. So I was like, I just need to worry about paying rent. So
Mm.
I got a job at a gym of all places. And then once I got the job at the gym, I'm like, I should actually start using the gym since I work here. And then I started taking a lot of the spin classes. And then the instructor, two instructors, I got to shout them out: Kit Vogelsang and Kevin Williamson. They both
Shout them
told me,
out.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're both doing dope things still to this day. Kevin Williamson was actually the director of recreation for the city of Jersey City. So that was a real
Wow.
good hookup because later on I was teaching spin class to seniors at New Jersey University. So that was really,
Nice.
really dope.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was like, yeah, I gained like a dozen grandparents I'd never had. It was great. But yeah, I got my spin certification, and then I started teaching classes. And then actually, what got me into doing a lot of long distance rides was just basically my dad died right around that
Yeah.
same time,
I'm
and
sorry for
then
your loss,
I was
brother.
like, yeah, I appreciate that. Um, and then right after that, I was like, I need to do something with this energy that doesn't require heavy drinking. You know,
Yeah.
so I just saw this
Make it
ad.
something positive and useful.
Yeah, yeah. So I just saw the ad for the 5 borough bike tour. And then I was like, oh, let me do this. So I had a little bit of cash saved up. I bought this like single geared $250 rickety ass bike, but it got me everywhere. I put more miles on that bike than probably before I started doing competitive cycling than any other bike that I've owned combined. Shout out to once again Anki of We Build Bikes. I got it from her, and I did a 40-mile bike ride at 5 borough all the way through from Manhattan through Staten Island, and I was like, yo, that was incredibly easy. And then the floodgates, and then I signed up to be a part of the this group called the Major Taylor Cycling Club,
Hmm.
based out of New Jersey. And well, one of my friends, who's also a spin instructor, Sabaj Adele, saying shout out to that dude. He was like, "Yo, you want to do a good ride?" And I was like, "All right, cool." And then he's like, "Cool, meet me in Newark Sunday." And then I showed up in Newark, and it was just like, imagine seeing like 200 black superheroes, all in their kits and in their bikes, what I'm saying, getting ready to like do some like Avengers Assemble type stuff, right?
Hmm.
So he's like, yeah, by the way, we're going to ride to Princeton and back. And I was like, dude, that's what, 80 miles? And so
Wow.
we did that. We rode 80 miles to Princeton and back. Dude, I literally said to him, by the time I got back to Newark, he was already at home, shit, showered, shaved, and was on a date. And I was like, I called him, I was like, yo, dude, I almost died doing that. When's the next one? And I've been doing that ever since. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now I do like 100 miles. I try to do during COVID, I was doing like maybe 200 miles a week, and then on Sundays I was trying to do like 80. So I was doing like maybe close to 300 miles a week. And yeah, I now try to do as many centuries as possible. In fact, now I do it for my birthday like every year with some friends.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. It's a lot of unity and gathering and positive. That's what every person needs, man. That support system,
Hmm.
positive, especially you and your dad passed away. You try to change that into something positive. That's inspiring, man.
Yeah, and I know people just pick that up organically, and that's one of the reasons why I had to make that website. It got to a point where like I saw so many, so many people just started writing. I'm a board member of Bike JC, which is the bicycle advocacy, weird, weird, dope bike rides. Most infamously, the one called the Warriors Ride, where we ride literally starting in the Bronx, and we do these like crazy routes, scavenger hunt route. So we had to do a whole bunch of things in different parts of the city before we go to the next destination, and it would take like 12 hours. So we ride starting at sundown at 8 p.m. and then we show up in Coney Island, finishing the ride at like 8 a.m.
Wow.
And that's how the Goonies was formed. But then I just had so many different friends I started riding with, and it just organically became like a new group. So I just have like such a really cool collective of cycling buddies that we ride. We ride almost every Sunday. We even rode last Sunday in the extreme cold, and it's
Wow.
been like such a great thing. And the best part about it, I'm one of many, many, many stories, and I wanted Bikes to Save the World to really capture those stories.
Wow, that's beautiful, man. Wow. How do you when you go on these long rides, how do you when you get back, how do you rest so your body can heal from all those miles? Or is it something your body just gets
Well,
used
first of all, take a
to?
you get used to it after a while. I mean, you definitely get used to it because I think one of the first things people will say when they start riding for the first time is that their ass hurts on the seat. And after a while, you get used to it. I mean, that's probably one of the things that kind of deters people a lot from cycling, just because they get uncomfortable. Is this something you have to ride through? When I did my first century, I wore like maybe 3 pairs of cycling shorts that have these
Hmm.
chamois pads in there
Yeah.
that allow some form of comfort. And then after a while, I just, I dropped down to 1 pair. And, you just get used to it. And then, saying once I'm done with a 100-mile bike ride, I take a warm shower. I drink a lot of water. And then I eat a really big meal.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
in
So
fact,
how many yeah.
yeah, many rides. Oh, I'm sorry. No, in fact, many rides that I've been doing lately with my friends, it's always like a beer run. So we always ride to a brewery, have 1 beer, just to say we did it, and then ride back home. So it's really dope.
Wow. How many times a day, a week do you ride? It's like once is like you ride every day, but
I'm
one.
still a commuting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm a commuting cyclist, so I still ride every day to get to work or to run errands. So, I mean, I could probably average like 1 to 5 miles a day, like, no matter what. But then whenever I have a ride on Sundays, most of the time, Sundays are normally my day to actually put in long miles. I honestly try to do no less than 40, to be quite honest. The only reason why I'm doing 40 lately is because it's just too cold to go too far, but I love doing like 80 plus miles. I love hitting Bear Mountain. I'm like one of the very few cyclists that actually love riding uphill. Like I hate going downhill because the faster you go, the more you remind yourself my insurance is not that good.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you don't want
That's a
to,
good way.
you don't want to risk.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
don't
good
want
way
to
to look at
risk.
it.
Yeah, you don't want to risk that. So like, I just love going uphill, cranking it. Saying, see how far I can go. Yeah, that's one thing I really love about cycling. Like every time I'm on that open road, man, for real. Like I don't think about when it's over. I want to see how far I can go. So I would never forget this one ride I did. It was actually just I think it was like last September. Yeah, it was a bunch of just random people that wanted to do Bear Mountain. It wasn't with my initial group. So got us all the way to Bear Mountain. If anybody knows the ride from Bear Mountain, it's not easy because you're looking at maybe like once you get to Bear Mountain State Park, you're looking at 5 miles of incline, which is like hell. So from my house to Bear Mountain, that's already a lot of miles, like 50 miles. And then then once we got down the mountain, we was like, okay, cool. Are we riding back? No, we're going to this brewery, so we got to keep going up. Next thing you know, we're in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Wow.
We did legit 100 miles all the way to Poughkeepsie. Don't get me wrong, we took the train back, you know, but we rode all the way up to Poughkeepsie and
Yeah, I
had
can
beers.
imagine
And then, yeah.
wow, that's crazy, man. Shit. I last year tried to start jogging and almost died. I tried training to
I,
and Jersey City they do these like marathons. I started training and
yeah, I've done them all. Yeah.
I I started looking online on how to train and I think one day I just did too much and like I was very like dehydrated and next thing you know I'm
Hmm.
like in a month in bed. But
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
a good
man.
experience.
Yo, dude. Oh yeah, dude. When I was doing a lot of I ran track in high school, so I used to
Mm,
do long distance all the time. So I think there was one year in particular. I think in 2016, I was also not only riding a lot, but I was also doing a lot of running. I was doing a lot of the city challenge obstacle course races that they do in the city. I've done. I think you're talking about the Newport 10K and half marathon. I've done
yeah,
those.
yeah.
My first year doing that. Yeah, my first year doing that. Like I had like serious knee pain because it's been like years.
Of not running.
One of the reasons why I do like cycling because it's wear and tear on your knees. And then just do a lot of hip stretching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You stretch your hips out a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like it really will help you out with your if you're developing knee issues and you know what I'm saying just any kind of like pains with that. But, I definitely recommend like stretch out your hips and a lot of lower body stretching. Like now I'm at an age, man, for real. Like I stretch before I get out of bed.
Shit, me too, man. I stopped doing it because it just like that's something you have to be always consistent with. But then like the winter hits, and I used to like going to
Yeah.
Interstate Park and running, but it gets fucking cold. It's
Hmm.
awful,
Oh yeah.
and I just
Right.
I
The
didn't
only
want
time a gym membership is
to. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Only time a gym membership is useful is like on the is during the winter time. That's the only time where I actually like a treadmill.
Yeah,
Uh, so I
yeah,
get it, man. But I do ride all year, and there are just some days where I'm like, why am I doing this in the truth? You know.
you're like, wow,
Another shout out to my friend Luca. Yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah. Another shout out to my friend Luca. Like who it doesn't matter how cold. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, back when it was like wind chills made it down to 19 degrees, and he was
mm.
like, "Yo, I want to ride," and I was like, "No." So now, like, when it's too cold, I have a trainer now. So now I put my bike on a trainer and do like 20 miles that way. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it is what it
that's
is.
awesome to invest in. Be like David Goggin. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's his name? David Goggin is like, like that man makes you
Mm.
feel like you everything you do is not enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, having a trainer has definitely gotten essential, especially for winter riding. Like the major Taylor Cycling Club, both in New York and New Jersey. In fact, I think the entire nationwide charter, they're doing these competitions on Zwift. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
don't have a Zwift account. I still get my miles outside. Much respect to all of them that do it. But they're cranking in 100 miles online a day. Like
Wow.
COVID really when we start riding on the road, I know my stamina is going to be completely different from them because they've been cranking in like 100 miles a day, just trying to compete with each other, trying to get more miles. You know what I'm saying? The competition of that. I really dig the cycling for the camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? Just the consistency of keep up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to beat anybody, but you know what I'm saying? Like these guys are like just putting in mad miles online, and like that's gold right there. In fact, the person that got me into riding with Major Taylor, Sabaz Adele, awesome competitive cyclist. This dude is like 63, 64 years old.
Wow.
And this man does, like, he tries to put in at least 11 to 14 miles, 14,000 miles, you know what I'm
Wow.
saying, a summer. This guy's insane. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really insane. Like, I remember one of my first rides with him, like, this man was clocking 33 miles an hour on a bike with the Cat 1 guy. Like, they could have gotten tickets in areas they were riding in for speeding,
Wow.
and it was just really, really dope. He's always been like, it's my inspiration. So, like, but I don't have a Zwift account, so I just normally try to ride as often as I can outside, even though it's like cold as hell.
How does that what is that Wick account? What is that? For the listeners that don't know, what is that?
Zwift, ZWIFT. It's basically just imagine, like, what I'm saying, you're playing PS5, what I'm saying,
Mhm.
online with someone across the country. That's exactly what Zwift is. Instead of a joystick, your joystick is your bike.
Got it.
So, like, you can literally ride with a whole bunch of people around the world with your Zwift account. You put on a program at a time, date, everyone's together at that time, and they're riding on their trainers, you know what I'm saying, and in this simulated, virtually simulated route that can be 100 miles and and there are these events, like really serious events of people riding with each other on these Zwift accounts, like, everybody 8 o'clock for this ride, that's going to be like, say 60, 70 miles, and it replicates many of the routes in certain countries. You could be riding in Paris,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it's
And
actually
everything's
really, really, really
online.
cool. Yeah, everything's online. And it was a great way for people who have, like, what I'm saying, immune issues, and were like
Hmm.
really paranoid about going outside, period. It allowed them the mileage to get in. They still have that camaraderie because they'll have their phones on,
Got it,
what I'm saying,
got it.
talking to their friends while they were riding. So they still have that camaraderie even though they were sheltered in the house. I am too much of an extrovert to spend more than 12 hours inside the house. So,
Yeah.
like,
I
one of the
feel you
reasons,
on
yeah,
that.
one of the reasons why I like cycling.
I
Yeah,
feel you on that. It sucks
you know.
staying in the it's like you're staying in your own prison. I need, once in a while I
I
need some
wouldn't say
quiet
that.
time,
What I'm
and
saying. I mean, yeah.
it
One thing I
it
am
gets
grateful for about
yeah.
Oh no, one thing I am grateful for. Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes its toll. I think it more takes the toll on it mentally. It doesn't feel like a prison, but you're just the isolation uh, uh, has somewhat similarities to it.
Hmm.
I was, I'm too much of an extrovert, than to be in the house on weeks on end. One time I was spending 2 weeks in the house during the peak of the pandemic was because I was taking antibiotics after I got my tooth pulled, and antibiotics weakens your immune system. So if you catch
Hmm.
COVID outside, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be done. So I stayed in the house for 2 weeks as I finished my medication, and that was torturous. I was FaceTiming random people, like they're like, "Yo, I
Hi,
haven't seen you in years. Like, what the hell,
why are you
And I'm like,
calling me?
yeah, exactly. I just got to a point where that's what I was doing all the time, and I was just like, I
I
cannot wait for this over.
in the pandemic, I was working. I was outside the whole pandemic.
Mm-hmm,
I was outside working, and
mm-hmm.
it looked like a ghost town. And I was
Yeah.
happy. There was no traffic. There was rarely people. So I was doing
Mm-hmm,
my thing. I was happy. Um,
mm-hmm.
wasn't wasn't really in contact with anybody, and but then I left, and it's hard for me to stay house sometimes, man. I
Yeah.
get very impatient. It's like I'm driving myself crazy in four walls.
Oh yeah. When I started when the pandemic first started and it shut, I work in a bunch of gyms. I worked in Goldman Sachs gym. I worked at a gym downtown. Plus I had like classes at other spots, and they all got shut down due to the pandemic. But I had like 3 months rent saved up, so I really wasn't really too worried. So there was nothing for me to do. And so the first 2 weeks after I got my tooth pulled, I was isolated. I had my thing on a trainer. I think there's a video of me riding my bike for a half hour on the trainer on Facebook live. Do it at
There you
Facebook,
go.
do
Go
it
check it
live.
out.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but it's just hilarious just doing that, and then once I was able to get out, I was like clocking like 250 miles, 290 miles a week, still riding with friends. And that helped me out a great deal. But then one day, I started collecting unemployment, and so I was comfortable, but at the same time, I had this urge, like, I still need to work. Like
Mhm.
I have that mindset. Like I feel like I'm really lazy if I'm not clocking an hour somewhere. Uh, but randomly one day, as I was getting ready for a ride, still with my gear on, a friend of mine who owned a bike shop, was overwhelmed. Line was around the block. It was just him. I was like, "Yo, do you need my help for a couple of hours? I can change tires, adjust brakes.
Mhm.
What's
Mhm.
up?" And I was just planning on just helping him out for that day. With still with my gear on, my bike was hung up, and then that turned into a 4 month full time job.
Wow.
You know, like seriously, I was there more than he was at that time. Like, what I'm saying? There were days where he wasn't even there. And I'm like opening the shop, trying to do as many repairs as I can. Then it was like I was grateful. I was stressed out and overwhelmed with work. Like I was really grateful at that point.
Sounds about
You know what I'm
right.
saying? It really, this pandemic really allowed me to be very humble, and it gave me a new skill. Like I started working at not only that I was literally running someone's small business, but I really learned a lot about bicycle repairs. And then when me and him had a falling out, uh, like literally, I told one friend who knows the owner of Grove Street Bicycles, the top bike shop in Jersey City. She said, like, expect a phone call from this guy in about 30 minutes. And I got a phone call from him. It's like, and I knew the owner because he used to go to my gym. And he's like, I wish I hired you a long time ago before you started working at that shop. And then I was just like, oh, I had to cut my teeth somewhere. And
Mhm.
then, but I was like, give me 2 weeks to de-stress from all the overwhelming stuff I did from working on these bikes for so long. And then 2 weeks later, I started working at Grove Street, and helping out with repairs, trying to do a lot of promotion. I'm working on projects like once we understand like the protocols on the COVID protocols on doing group rides. We're going to do a lot of group rides at the new greenway that's set up that takes you all the way to like through Philadelphia. We're going to set that up. We're going to have a lot of dope rides coming up. I'm going to be in charge of that. Those are the ideas that I have in place. We're going to do some really, really, really dope things. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, even trying to think about how I can set up teaching spin classes outside the shop. So we have that going, and it gave me all these different resources now, just because I started riding a bike. And that's something that I greatly
Yeah,
appreciate. And that's why I feel like
your
bikes have made the
network
world better.
has increased crazily, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
My network increased so much. You know, like I know so many different bike clubs now. I'm doing a lot of collaborating work. You know, big shout out to Good Company Bike Club out of Brooklyn, New York. These guys started in June, and they're doing such amazing things. Like I had to personally meet these guys. Became a part of their bike ride. They did this crazy bike ride called the Mamba Mentality Ride on Kobe
mm,
Bryant's birthday,
yeah,
where we rode into every single Kobe Bryant mural in New York City. That was so dope. And these guys are doing great, and that's inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Me, and then
that's dope.
also I'm going to try to make my birthday bike ride in June, where we're going to go to Philadelphia into like some kind of fundraiser. We're still looking at the organization. We're going to try to like donate money for it. But you know, what I'm saying, we're looking for sponsorships and stuff like that. I'm working on actually today. We're working on getting a Patreon account set up for all this stuff. Like I just feel like uh, we're doing, bike. Simple bike is changing the way this world can work. You know, and just
Yeah,
allow it to.
one bike at a
You know,
time.
yeah, you know, I also joined Bike JC, which is a bicycle advocacy group about some bicycle safety. They've been responsible for all the new bike lanes in
Yeah,
various cities. Now I know people have mixed feelings about the bike lanes, where there's parking issues, traffic issues, but you know what I'm saying, those are all the same people that I'm like, yo, you need a bike, dude. You know, you and that.
I only worry about like I live kind of in like the hood, and
Hmm.
I worry about the bike lanes, people riding on them because people just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you know.
I'll say it again. People just don't give a fuck, and
Hmm.
they will fucking hit you with your car because I've seen it several times. I live like on the main street of Garfield, and there's a bike
Yeah,
lane not too far, and I've seen some crazy shit, man. And
yeah.
there's people not giving a fuck, not respecting.
Yeah, that road is the same. The road that you live in. Like I live literally like a mile and a half away from you.
Hmm.
So I that's my route getting to Bayonne, so I can do my laps around Staten Island. So I totally know, man. For real, like you gotta either ride. You have to ride fast and ride defensively. Like
Yeah,
like you said, they will hit you. I have done. I had to do things like take the entire lane because people are like blocking the bike lane or
hmm,
just not really giving a fuck about what I'm saying, me being there. So I would just take the lane. They're honking at me, but I'm like I got no other choice. And I'm like, dude, you would not get to work on time
hmm.
if you hit me. So
I
calm down.
like a year ago, I was talking to my wife. I because I was trying to get back into biking and riding bikes, but I wanted to build them. So I started on Pinterest, just putting ideas together and just trying to slowly get into that bike world
Mm,
again. And I was driving out and I saw a cyclist, and literally like in front of my face, it got hit
mm.
by a Impala, a fucked up Impala,
Oh, man.
a old one, and like it
Yeah.
just the idea I had was like moving on, and I decided just to
No,
get a job.
dude, no, I get that. I get that. That can get intense. It's one of the reasons why, like, you have to get two different mindsets when you're riding. You know what I'm saying? When you're riding in a city, especially a city that's known to have high traffic, you know what I'm saying? You got to ride very defensively. I never test anything when I'm on the road. So when I'm on the city roads, it's my rides are always to get to a place that has just a free range road. So like whenever I ride to Fort Lee,
Mhm.
River Road is can be sketchy at times. But one thing that I'm comfortable about River Road now, it took me a while, is just that you know where the traffic's coming from. You know what I'm saying? So you know when you have to take the entire lane, when you know what I'm saying, can ride defensively and stuff like that.
Yeah, once you
Um,
get that experience on that road, and yeah, I
yeah,
get it.
and
It's
then but once I get up to 9W, they take you up to Rockland County. The shoulder is so wide, it doesn't even matter, you know. So like you just ride there, feel free, and just just go hard, just hammer it as long as you can, you
yeah.
know.
One thing I admire about you is that you weren't like most people. And it's one thing I in my past episodes I continue to stress, stress is that um, you were able to reinvent yourself and learn something, and whether it's a new skill or network or do something. A lot of people just sat back, man, and said, I haven't taken a vacation in years," and just sat back and do nothing. And you're not that person, which is something I admire of you. Like when the pandemic hit, I saw it as a blessing. I built my own website. I got to focus on my business. I'm building slowly building this podcast and where I could bring people like yourself to promote and talk about their passion. I fucking learned how to cut my own hair. You know, after 6 months of fucking messing it up, I'm at a stage that it looks decent, like a legit barbershop did it, and
Mhm.
I'm happy to be able to talk to somebody that's doing the same thing, man. What skills and things you've learned throughout this pandemic initially?
Definitely bicycle mechanics. Definitely, I can definitely pretty much fix my own bike by myself. Adjusting brakes and stuff like that. I still need help in a few things. Working at I had no bike shop experience before this pandemic, and then, like I said before, it literally came from getting ready to do a ride and passing by my friend's shop. He was overwhelmed with work, and I just asked, "Do you need my help for a few hours?" And that turned into a full time job that helped me venture off into another into actually and upgrade it into a better job situation in the bike world. From going from running the small bike shop to being a part of a team of probably one of the biggest bike shops in Jersey City in the east, in probably the East Coast, Grove Street Bicycles, doing awesome stuff with Giant. I'm saying, having all these crazy, amazing tricked out road bikes that are like, saying, range from like 700 to $8,000. I'm saying? It's insane. I'm saying? So basically learning that field. I've made jewelry out of bike chains. I think that's an awesome
You blink down.
another. Yeah, yeah.
That's what's up.
What I'm saying? Yeah, it was great. I had like a whole bunch on my arm, but then say it just got complicated. What I'm saying, when interacting with certain people. And then just I really was able to get miles in on community organization. I was able to develop, like, because I organize these group rides with friends. What I'm saying, and we just do these this crazy distance rides. I also just learned mentally on how to just keep going. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in this whole pandemic. Like, I've always been a person that needs to move,
Hmm.
but this pandemic really has taught me how don't get comfortable in a comfort zone. You know, I think that's one of the biggest problems that happened during COVID. It's like, people just didn't know what was going on, so they did. It was like, I don't know what to do, so like they just throw the papers in the air and just complain about, like, what I'm saying, what's going on. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, it's as scary as these times are, and it still is. Like, say nothing's going to really get back to normal. And in my field, in the
Hmm.
fitness world, I was able to sit down and talk to people about what I can do to keep going, to keep thriving, and to keep paying rent on time. So one of the things, like, I didn't burn any bridges. So my job at Goldman Sachs, anytime they had opportunities at that time, I took advantage of it. I'm saying, I was working at their gym in New York because they have different regulations in New Jersey. I was working with them a lot. I was able to get a contact with Base Gym. I'm now teaching classes there. I'm teaching classes at Crunch. And then one of my closest friends, Cello Mikado of Grassroots Community Space, has been constantly wanting me to start teaching classes outside of his community space center. So I, started putting my money together, started putting it in an organized a class setup, and started teaching fitness classes there. Because not only am I a spin instructor, but I also got I was teaching group fitness classes at the previous gym that I was working at, as well as I got my TRX certificate. So I am teaching those things. Plus, I have a few skill sets in kettlebell. So I combined all that together and created a bunch of group fitness classes that I teach outside of grassroots community space. So far, I'm still like breaking even, so that's good. As long as it
Yeah,
pays for
yeah.
itself.
You're
Yeah.
hustling. You're doing a lot. That shit. You're
Oh,
keeping busy. Like I said, you're unstoppable. You're unstoppable.
uh, Dude, because the only thing that didn't stop the pandemic, you know what I'm saying, it stopped people's jobs, it stopped people's income. The only thing that didn't stop was the rent. So like,
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm paying rent on time, and luckily, I do not. I have no illusions on how blessed and how say lucky I am during this pandemic that I was still able to work. Knock on wood, I never got sick, and I risked. I got put in the risk factor many times because
I feel you. I feel
when
you.
people that I knew that had a quarantine, I would like try to like drop off supplies to them because they can't leave the house. So I was doing that a great deal, and like I'm really grateful that I have been able to continue and keep moving, keep pushing, because I was actually more afraid of the financial, economical aspect
Mm-hmm.
of this pandemic as opposed to like my health factor. And as a black male in this country, like to really think about your money more than your health. I mean, unfortunately, that is so common and so wrong at the same time. But I am really grateful. Like I still call my mom every couple of days. She's old school Ghanaian mom, and like if any Ghanaians are watching this podcast, what is the biggest thing in your diet growing up as a kid? Okra. I hate okra. Well, sure, with a passion, I hate okra, but she shoved that thing down my throat for 16
What
years,
is
and then
what is okra? What is that?
okra is a plant, and cooked it, and if it's cooked in a stew. Okra is a vegetable, and if you cook it in a stew, it's really slimy. It's
Mm.
really slimy, and I hated eating it all the time. And I hated it so much I would eat it slowly. But my mom, being like, I paid for this,
You
you're
better
gonna
eat this
finish it,
shit.
you better eat it, and then like so it gets cold, so it's even more disgusting, you
Oh.
know. But okra has vitamin C that is excellent for your immune system, and I I can count probably one hand how many times I've been physically sick to the point where I can't get out of bed. And three of those times were always after me doing a film project, and I was not sleeping and not eating healthy for a week. So I call my mom up saying thank you, all the time.
Dude, that's
You
one of
know
the
what I'm saying?
reason I had a before I started, I embarked on this journey. I had a corporate job, and I finally reached that corporate ladder in the industry
Mm-hmm.
I was, bro. But I fucking hated it. I love my
Yeah.
job, but I hated it because once you get to a levels like there's nowhere to go. It's not
Mm-hmm.
another challenge. The money, shit. You gotta wait till you actually get. If you want more money, you gotta fucking wait.
Yeah.
The people in the corporate America, whether it's just like I was in the janitorial department,
Mm-hmm.
they're slimy as fuck.
Yeah.
They're horrible. And I wanted more. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
more. You know, it was something about. It's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, but it was something that I've always like something about 9 to 5 staying here for the rest of my fucking life,
Mm-hmm.
doing the same fucking shit would drive me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So being in that industry and during the pandemic, and I was stuck in a lot of, well, let's just say I'm the king of disinfecting. Let's just keep it there. I'm the king of disinfecting. I was very good at my job, but the risk and the money was good, but I know eventually I needed more, and I didn't want to
Yeah.
give that, and it wasn't mine. I wasn't happy, and one day I said, "Fuck it," and I started slowly but surely. I started doing this and continue doing this because
Yeah.
consistency is key in everything. But,
Absolutely.
but fuck, man, I totally get what you're doing and trying to do, man. It's inspiring. Your definition of a dream, inspire, obtain.
Oh man, I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. And it's just like honestly, it's just like I just don't know how else to work but hard.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? To
like
a point where it's to my own detriment because like I
I
gotta get
listen.
much better at the paperwork.
I remember when we worked at the Galaxy and we used to entail in these conversation, and you were telling me like you wouldn't tell me like there has to be more of this shit. I can't stand this orange bitch. I can't stand this other. I don't want to say a name. This fat bitch that just make people miserable. Like, and we will sit there.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we will sit there and contemplate that it has to be more, and sometimes it was hard for you, and sometimes because I'm all business. I was a fucking.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm still a dick. But when it comes to business, I'm all business, and I did my best. It's gonna be okay, brother.
Yeah.
And the day you left, I was happy because like he's leaving, he's gonna progress, he's actually gonna do something, and you're still doing
But you
shit.
know, yeah. But you know what? I look back and I'm like, I see the good things and the bad things that I did with that decision. Because when I was working at the Galaxy, yeah, you're right. It was the Galaxy was probably the most mentally enduring job. But I also have to say this: if you could survive that job, you could survive anything.
Yes, yes,
You could survive
yes.
anything. It got to a point where I got physically sick just of the idea of going to work. So when Monday night hit, so when Sunday night hit, and I knew I had to go to work Monday afternoon at 2 p.m., I was just like, oh my god, I really got to
Dude, I
be
was
there. And then
happy.
I got the
I
then
was
I got the
happy
opportunity.
the day they let me go.
Hmm.
It was like the happiest day of my fucking life.
Yeah, I quit. I literally I legit I was looking for another job, and I got a very similar job. Saying at a different building at a different company. And my work ethic is like 2 weeks notice. Give it, saying be very cordial, don't burn bridges. I was pouring gasoline on that bitch, and I
Right.
was just like, saying fuck this place. I never want to come back. But because of having that mentality, the job that I got, was actually work because it was one thing about when we worked together management, as corrupt as it was, like I would have to say, our immediate boss that was right here with us, and then there was the others.
Mm,
I understood his position, and I understood like he was getting dumped on by both people. So I had empathy for that. So that's one of the reasons why we still talk. Um, you know, uh, but when I went to the other job, the most vicious, backstabbing person was my boss that did not treat me as a human being. So when he lost the contract to the building that we were working at, he didn't tell anybody until that day. And then the next day, I was like on call. Like still to this day, I'm not fired from that company. You know what I'm saying? But I'm on call, and I would get a random message like, "Oh, what are you doing right now?" And I'm just like, "I had to do this freelance gig because like you guys are not giving me hours. I need you right now to come to the building." And I'm like, "Well, I'm 3 cities away. I can't be there." You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like he just over and over again. So that was a really compromise, really, really, really difficult situation. And then I went back to working at a coffee shop at like 30. I think I was 29 or 30 years old. That takes a mental toll on you. And then it was just like, okay, I got to just think about worry about just paying rent right now, and just figure it out. So that's how I got the gym job, and then and it just worked so well because after the
Right.
gym job, I got certified to teach spin, and then not only did I have my hours working at the gym, I was also getting extra money teaching classes, and then I started teaching classes outside the gym, and it just spanned into like just being an independent contractor for various gyms, and like it just slowly was like, oh wait, I got my own business here, and
Yeah.
then to really set that up, and the pandemic was like that's my only way to survive now, you know, and so it's
But
just
like,
trying to time to
I like it
evolve.
because the pandemic, well, at least for like people like us, it forced us to, because sometimes we tend to, without knowing, jump in the box again. But it
Yeah.
forced us to like outthink and get out the box and try new things and learn new things.
Yeah, I would have to say that one thing that I'm grateful for about, don't get me wrong, 2020 was a shit year. I lost a friend. A lot of friends lost their livelihoods, lost a lot of means to ends and stuff like that. So 2000, I have no illusions on how bad 2020 was for people. But I would say for myself, being one of the lucky ones, and I never take this for granted. You know what I'm saying? It allowed me to really uh, get out of my comfort zone. And now my greatest fear is to be in a comfort zone. So I keep on moving, keep on
Amen
hustling.
to that.
And a friend of mine said it best. Shout out to Martine. Uh, 2020 was the year for the hustler. You know, like you know, where people like are, have been in this comfort zone of a corporate job or like just a 9 to 5, and they go home and that's it. They know that they got their job no matter what, and then they realize their job was taken away from them because of the pandemic. They have no clue how to survive or how to like evolve and how to saying just make ends meet. I've been able to evolve. You know what I'm saying? I go from being a barista, struggling to be a photographer, to what I'm saying, now I'm working at it. Now I go from being a spin instructor, kind of like an influencer, so to speak, working public relations at bike shops. Really, what I'm saying, growing the brand and growing my skills far more than what I imagined when I graduated college.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I walked away the corporate job, everything I was doing, I was like, I realized I could do this shit for myself.
Yeah.
Like my brand, Dream Inspired Entertainment, has been for 2 years, but it's like I've never gave it that full potential, my full attention.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the custom tees. Like I've never gave it full potential. Same thing with my real estate. Never.
Mm-hmm.
And I like I said, I see the pandemic is fucked up. We lost a lot because me personally, I lost a lot. Um, but I also saw it as a blessing. I got more time with my wife, more time with my son,
Yeah.
to be a constructive father because working 9 to 5, and especially when you're in corporate at that level, I used to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, didn't come home until 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, and then at that time, they were still calling me, and I wasn't able to fun. I wasn't a functioning human being. I was
Mm-hmm.
not, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to, you know, like I said, I created this. I'm happy to sit down and talk to people like you. It's so fucking inspiring. It's mind blowing. It's embracing, like if we really sit down or we really put our minds to something, we can actually do something. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like taking fucking tunnel jump out.
Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate you. I love, because you, everything you're saying about me, I can say it about you, dude. Like, seriously, like I am very humbled about our upbringing, about
Mhm.
how, like, we both came from, like, what I'm saying, I'm a first generation American, what I'm saying, you grew up in Puerto Rico, what I'm saying, we learned to live, survive with a lot less. And this, this experience allowed us to practice that now more than ever. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Our disadvantages when we were younger are now advantages surviving. Dude, I've been shopping at BJ's just like my mom used to do. Like seriously, packing
Get
food
more
in
for your
bulk.
money.
Like
Yeah.
exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like for real. Staying inside other than cycling, I'm used to that because I remember growing up as a kid, my mom was like, "Don't go outside because of the gangbangers." You know what I'm saying? Like just being able to evolve and understand, and also most importantly, be humbled about what I'm saying, the fact that it can be so much, so much, so much work.
Yeah.
Like seriously, and I'm really grateful about that. I mean, 2020 was a tough year. Like I lost a friend. A lot of friends I know like are in like really difficult situations. But I mean, it really helped me grow a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to put some miles into my bike, which is something I've been dying to do.
That's
Like,
the
dude,
most
my
important.
credit. Oh yeah, saying during this whole pandemic, it's been crazy because my credit has greatly improved. Because I was able to put the a budget on all the money that's coming in because everything is fluctuating. Saying that say I may get a whole bunch of money one month and I might get nothing the next month. So what I'm saying, it made me put everything that I have on a budget and save as much as I possibly can. So far, I'm able to say like I have not missed rent throughout this whole pandemic. All my bills have been paid on time. My credit has gotten better. You know what I'm saying? There's still a little bit money in the bank. Still more money than I had before the pandemic. You know?
I'm into that.
Yeah.
How? What do you think? Like, are we ever gonna come out this stage? Like, how is like because we're still in pandemic stage, and
Yeah.
people are acting like not like it's a regular, Saturday. They go clubbing, they go doing this and that, and we're still in pandemic stage. Like,
Yeah. Well, if you still go to the club, how disgusting you are.
Dude,
Seriously, because
you'd be
like,
surprised.
uh, yeah, exactly. There's no restrictions. I mean, there's been so many situations where there's backyard parties and no one's wearing a mask, and the next thing this definitely has taught me about how like common sense hygiene is really important. I probably would never eat a cake where someone blew out candles now. Say I'm very yeah. I now carry this
Yes.
fanny pack that has yeah, man. Don't be eating that cake, man, anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Blowing out candles is gonna be unknown. I think what's his name? Fauci said he would never shake anyone's hand again. I hope in my lifetime I get back to that. I feel bad for the French because their
Yeah.
greeting is kissing. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I feel seriously like now they're gonna have to change up. Saying this is definitely a humbling experience that I think mankind needed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's sad to say unfortunately. I mean, I wouldn't say even needed. It was just something that has to test us being able to evolve, accept change. One of the things that I constantly have to remind myself is to adapt, stay strong, and keep going. Especially those words, keep going. Like I even got it tattooed on my leg during this whole pandemic. Is that you have to figure out what's going on and how to adapt into it, and try to stay strong during it, and then keep going. Figure out
keep keep
ways to
keep living life. Keep living.
yeah,
Living
keep
life.
living
Keep
life. Just
moving.
keep live life
Keep
responsibly.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
A
saying?
lot of
Like, I
people.
mean,
Yeah, a lot of people stay stuck on that and that
yeah,
mentality. I mean, it's not to judge them, but like you have to. If
yeah,
not, you're not gonna get anything done. You're not gonna move forward.
yeah. And not getting anything done scares me more than anything else. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I'm knock on wood. I am grateful to be in really, really good health. You know what I'm saying? And I have no illusions of how easily that's able to be taken
Hmm.
away. But as long as I am up, I want to get as much done as possible before I go to bed, which explains why I only sleep like maybe at the most 5 hours a day. You know, and
But you're
that
happy.
mindset,
That's the most important thing. Is you're
I
happy
am.
because I tell my wife all the time. I tell her all the time. Right now we're struggling. We're not financially as we want to be. But
Knowing this,
yeah, but one day that's gonna change. And the most problems we're gonna have is that we have too much money. And then what? And then we're gonna be contemplating and thinking about reminiscing at that time how do we had to hustle and get something
mm-hmm,
done, or buy our sons shit for school. Like those are gonna be precious memories that right now we look at. I want this shit to be over, right? But then when we look
mm-hmm,
back, it's like I miss that. I miss that
yeah,
that I miss that grind. I miss that hustle.
yeah. Yeah, like you don't want to get to a point where where you're so poor, the only thing you have is money.
Yeah.
You know,
And it gets,
I
and that's what a lot of people with money do. That's all they fucking talk about.
yeah. One of my friends, Cello, he really who owns grassroots community space. He really, really said something really prolific. Is that what I'm saying? Turn that idea and thought process of what is money, and just refer to it as resources.
Hmm.
You know, money is nothing more than the resources you need to get certain
I
things.
say I say
Certain
to
things are
people that
material.
it's a tool. It's a tool to
Yes,
get you to A to B. That's it. You
yes.
know, and this day and age, there's so much false advertisement. It's so like you go on YouTube and you try to watch something useful, right? But then you get an ad. Hey, you want to make $100,000 a year? You want to
Mm-hmm.
make a quick buck? Oh, you like this Lambo? It's like no, no. Like
Yeah.
then you invest fucking money that you don't have in something because they're telling you that, and oh yeah, you gotta wait a year, you gotta work on it. And like that's something
Mm-hmm.
you already knew.
Yeah, I mean, for real, these those commercials, man, about making more money, it really throws me off even more because it's like that's their hustle to get you to spend money. That's what
Hmm.
it is. You know what I'm saying? What you got to do is go out there and create what you think will help you. But yo, that's why I have mad respect for those Reddit guys that made GameStop like the hottest stock in the block. Like it was amazing, and like finding out like so many of my friends had GameStop stocks, and I'm like, and so many of them were like the sneakerheads that bought like mad Jordans and shit.
Hmm.
And I was just like, how do you have GameStop stocks? Last I know you were collecting sneakers, and I'm just like, these were the same cats that were like buying and selling sneakers. They knew about the hustle,
Shit, I have
so they knew
GameStop,
about
but
more
I
about real
fucking
stock.
sold it.
Yeah, GameStop. Yo, dude, I didn't know, but I didn't get into stocks until like earlier last year. Like, I think one of the things I was able to do with some of the money I was able to save up was buy a bunch of Apple stock, and you know what I'm saying. I'm grateful for that. Now it's on the rise. Now I bought a little bit of some other stuff. Bought one Pfizer just to play around with it to see what's going on. I'm
Mhm.
slowly learning to develop, but that's the they figure out and adapt, man. I mean, I respect the Bitcoin hustlers right now. You know what I'm saying, doing their thing. Now
I
there's a
got
new
is this cryptocurrency. It's called B, like
B.
B.
Yeah,
I got that. It's just what I've read and what I've heard is supposed to be the next Bitcoin, which you know,
everything's
I,
gonna be the next.
yeah, everything
Everything's
is
gonna be the next. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, like,
but that's the shit. Everything. It's so like we live in an age that they know, like we know it's controlled because as soon as that fucking GameStop app went up, Robinhood shut down, and you can't
oh,
buy
of
a
course,
share. And like that's fucking bullshit. You
you
want
know,
the rich will tell you, oh, tell the poor people, oh, invest your money, save your money, buy something, do something with it. When you do something, they're trying to fucking cover your ass. They don't
yeah.
let you move.
My
Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, my goal is, what I'm saying. I mean, I'll probably dip into like, I'm saying, some of that stuff, but never go too hard. Yeah, I still want
Mm-hmm.
to just buy property. That's still the
Yeah,
goal.
property.
I want to buy more property out of the country, actually.
Me too.
You know,
Me too.
so like,
I want to go. I have this dream of going. I used to want to go to London, but fuck London. I don't want to go to London no more. I want to. I want to
different
go
trips
to.
are dope, man.
I want to go to Ireland. I want to go to New Zealand. Is it New Zealand?
Hmm.
Uh, I,
Yo, I was, yeah. 2020 was going to be the year that I was going to go on a lot of cycling trips.
mhm.
And then COVID happened. Like, I got friends in Berlin. So I was going to try to ride out in Berlin. I was going to try to do the Grand Fondo of Argentina because my friend's family used to live out in Argentina. I was planning on doing that. So I was planning on doing a lot of stuff. Like, I definitely want to invest in getting more memories, as well as, like, I do want to save up cash. I want to start off with at least, my goal is to at least start off with a condo by the end of the year, and then move forward to getting like a multifamily house. So you gotta have that residual income.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And that's the main thing that I've been learning about this whole COVID is that you gotta hustle until you get like residual income. And
Yeah.
so,
And you
so,
gotta.
so,
You have to have income like outsource. Many
yeah.
sources of income.
Oh yeah, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, and I
Yeah.
think we have been proven. I think we proved that. So
But
as
that's
soon as
the
I get
thing.
like
Like when you're growing up, those are essential tools that the education we go as a child is supposed to give us, but they
mhm.
don't.
Yeah, honestly, like living I grew up in multifamily houses. I have never lived in like a 2 floor one family house. In fact, when I was young and I was walking into those houses, I always found it very unusual. Like you go up to and like where's the kitchen on the second floor? You know what I'm saying? That's
Mhm.
always because like I just grew up in those kind of environments because like my dad, all the credit to him, like he did the best he could with what he knew, and he knew more about owning property was important more than most people that I know that lived in America. You know what I'm saying? Still want to pay rent for the rest of their lives. He not only wanted to own his house, but he wanted to make sure that house was making enough money to where what I'm saying he could still work full time and not stress about paying rent. And that's basically my overall goal. Hopefully, at first I thought it was going to be part of my 10-year plan, but now I'm probably thinking it's going to be in my 5-year. Hopefully,
Yeah,
sooner than that. You know.
that's that. That's the same. That's the same thing I have. That's what I'm trying to build my company up, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's in the plan. But
Yeah.
it's the longevity at the end of the day that's gonna let you enjoy the fruits of your labor, than making quick
Exactly.
money. You know,
Exactly.
uh,
I mean,
I stopped using Jordans and started using New Balance.
oh, dude, man, for real. I fluctuate between I would own like maybe two pairs of Chucks, and like the rest of like Levi's are like $20. You
Yeah.
know,
I,
like
I I
I
sold my son's first birthday, man. His first birthday. I sold all my fucking Jordans, and that's what I did his first birthday with. Like,
mm,
it's I don't want an image. I want to look I'm broke. I get to enjoy my money more like that.
Oh yeah, man. So you don't need to like put a diamond on your head, a $24 million diamond on your
Oh.
head, dude. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. But
Look at
yeah,
the
man, I mean,
culture, man.
yeah, it's you know, what I'm saying, and that's another thing, man. For real, like I really hope this kid has like income from other resources coming in, and I'm talking about real estate. I'm talking about stock, like you know, what I'm saying. I mean, people like what I'm saying. Like I just saw an interview with about Juicy J. You know what I'm saying? If there was any rapper that you wouldn't think is a very intelligent business person, it's Juicy J, and this dude like is doing dope stuff. Like
Mhm.
he made mad money off core water. You know, he you know what I'm saying, got a lot of Apple stock. Like I gotta send you the link, man. That's really dope what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And then you got some of these cats are like, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't be wearing your success. You should be living in it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or you know, like you should be collect. You know, so like that's the goal, man. I want to hopefully the 5 year goal is to own property, and then after own property at the same time. Finally finalized on my personal training certificate. I definitely want to venture off into getting not only several different certificates in the film and fitness industry because the I feel like the gym life is going to change, you know what I'm saying, greatly. I think classes are going to be more of a big thing than actually being physically at a gym. Just because of health concerns, you're more able to like be on point with the cleanliness
Mhm. Mhm.
of the gym with classes as opposed to a gym that might consist of like 40, 50 people. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to go into that, develop, just develop my brand and fitness. I want to grow Bikes Will Save the World to be a really, really, I think it's a really positive outlet for people
It could be global.
to
It could be
really,
global.
yeah,
Something. Yeah.
yeah.
It speaks with
I'm
audience that everybody
actually,
knows.
oh yeah, I'm actually going to try to take this wave to. I'm actually going to have to go to Ghana this year to visit my mother. Lord willing, if the pandemic doesn't go too crazy again, to keep flights at bay. But I've definitely been trying to reach out to the cycling community out in Ghana. And then once I come back from Ghana, I'm going to try to start, saying get my paperwork together to check out Berlin. And I have friends living there, so I mean, 2 weeks over there, riding my bike, meeting the community there, really grow the brand. I still want to get Argentina
Are
as
you
an
ever
option.
thinking about doing like one of those, like getting into like those Tour of France shit like that?
I do want to train to be competitive. If I was offered to compete, I would probably, see what that entails and do it. I probably wouldn't have a very long career as a competitive cyclist because it's kind of very similar to when I was a filmmaker and I was a photographer. Once you start getting projects and you have the stress of making sure it's done, and then you still have to like figure out the financial aspect of the business aspect of it, I would say.
And you can't do
Um,
both because
yeah, you can't do both, and it gets to
can't be the
yeah,
one
and it gets
doing it and then actually you're doing your numbers while you write. It's
yeah,
different.
like yeah, if I get sponsored and had a right team, like what I'm saying, if the right situation was presented to me, then I'll probably take that up. But what I'm saying, I really don't see, especially compared to some amazing cyclists that I know personally, I don't see that happening. And if I was given the opportunity, depending on the opportunity, I probably wouldn't take it because like I enjoy cycling so much that I never want it to be a
Got
job,
it. Got it.
you
Got
know.
it.
And like like I know some competitive cyclists, what I'm saying, like their diet intake is on point, and like as much as I mimic that, to have to like deal with the stress of going straying from that, costing you probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, what I'm saying, could be like it's too much stress. But given the right situation, I probably would. And yeah, I will never say no to good opportunities. That I will also keep in mind of my abilities, my capabilities, and what I can do outside of that. Like seriously, I really want to be able to make sure that what I'm saying, my opportunities can thrive longer periods of time with my mind rather than just my body.
Yeah. Yeah. A strong mind keeps the body young.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's dude. Like it's funny. As long as I stretch, I feel younger than I was when I was in my 20s. I really do. Just as long as I stretch in the morning. And I one of the things I'm really grateful for being 37 as opposed to being 27 is that I have less time to do bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like like I remember like
Finally, you finally figured out that what's not you finally like what's your time worth and what you want to
Yeah.
do with your time. That's
Oh man,
something
I remember.
I I tell my wife all the time. I tell my stepdaughter. I tell everybody. Time is important. It's the most.
Yes.
You know, it's what you do with your time. It's what's
Hmm.
gonna give you your outcome in the future. Because if you ain't doing
And it's
shit,
fun.
you ain't doing shit. You're
Yeah.
gonna get shit.
And it's funny too because you look back at your younger self and you're mad at yourself for how much
Mm-hmm.
time you wasted. But at the same time, you wouldn't appreciate the time you have now if you didn't waste it back when you were 20. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? And if you didn't waste it back then, you were definitely wasted when you get older. I know some really immature 37-year-olds. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like,
or like R.
so
Kelly,
like,
50,
and that.
50 something years old and still rocks his fucking pants under his ass.
Oh yeah, man, dude. I know some 57-year-olds that like still live with their moms. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, dude, like, they still haven't figured it out, like how they, say get their substructure. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't from thinking about that. Like I wouldn't be in a situation where I'm doing, what I'm saying, where I really feel like I'm in a really good place in my life right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about financially, uh, and just mentally. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that, what I'm saying, especially in 2002, 2020, came from just simply riding a bike a lot. You know, and I just everything that progressed in my life over the last 3 years came from simply riding a bike.
Doing something you loved.
Yeah,
Something you loved. So simple.
yeah, it just
And
yeah. Even just doing that just allows you to approach difficult things in a different state of mind. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got shit going on at one part of your life, and then you have the stress and responsibilities of another, you know what I'm saying? You can feel that shit filtering into the stress and responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Whenever I had like when I was dating this one girl at the time, anytime we had a huge argument, I went for a bike ride. You know what I'm saying? Sundays became a point where I was like, I need to ride no matter what. You know what I'm saying? What we're going through. You know what I'm saying? And it
mhm.
really just helped now, what I'm saying, filter into the productivity in my life now because I look at things so much differently. I have a clearer sense of what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? After a long bike ride, dude, like seriously, I do like maybe an 80-mile bike ride, and the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, what do I need to get done? This, that, this, that,
It
this.
gives you time to
So when I do,
digest and
yeah,
analyze. The
yeah.
greatest.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm sorry, but normally, like most Sundays, after a long bike ride, the only thing I do after that long bike ride is take a shower, eat, and then I have like a chalkboard, and it's like it's already in my mind fresh things I need to do that week.
I have a.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't see it because I got the green screen in the back. I have a whiteboard and
Hmm.
phases. Everything's phases. Phases.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, one
and
one one piece of advice that somebody told me. His name was Tony Velas. And this probably has to be the greatest advice that anyone has given me is for as long as you're doing something, you never have to worry about anything.
yeah,
And to this day, I carry that shit and I live by that because for as long as you're doing something productive, something that's going to better you or your family or your situation, you're going to be okay. And it speaks volumes of truth.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with that. One step today is better than the step you did yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's one more step. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we think about wanting to just jump into 20 steps. No, we can't. You know what I'm saying? As long as you do one step, that's important. Like this whole pandemic, it was just okay. Let me pay rent on time. You
Mhm.
know, like that was the main goal. Just make sure rent was paid every day, every month, on time. Like I've been living in my apartment for like 2 years. I pay my rent 2 weeks in advance every month. That has not stopped. Fuck the pandemic. And that came from like hustling. That came from like teaching classes, teaching PT and working at a bike shop. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, and it allowed me to really understand it. And by doing that, just as long as you're moving, you're meeting new people. You're getting new resources. You're figuring it out. And that's part about it. Also, during this pandemic, it really taught me who my friends are that I could rely on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
That can help me get this
yes.
way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just really connects. Like, I really love the network that I have now. I feel like every 6 years my network changed. Right now, at this age, these are the people that I really need. My last network, I love them to death, but then I realized, okay, I'm getting drunk on Saturdays and I'm waking up Sunday morning hungover, or I'm not doing anything Sunday. Now, Saturday night, I'm going to bed early because I got a bike ride, and that really helps clear my thoughts of what I have to do on that week. You know what I'm saying? And I have really good people that are in that same mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I
Much
hate
older people.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hate going to sleep late. I like waking up
Yeah.
early. I love working. It wasn't because of my son. He's having speech impediments and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
he's high sensory, and he probably has what do you call that? What do you call that? He has something. I don't. He's autistic, right?
Autistic? Okay.
So it's difficult being a parent,
Mm. Yes.
and he wakes
Much
up.
respect to you, brother. Much respect.
Thank you, I
Excellent.
appreciate it, man. He wakes up, dude. He goes to sleep. Let's say at 10. He'll wake up at
Mm-hmm.
2 o'clock in the morning, and it's like he's ready to go. That's it. That is
Mm-hmm.
it. He goes. Sometimes he goes to the next day.
Yeah.
Um, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's challenging, but it's not impossible. So
Yes.
every
Yes.
day, it's I have a plan, and motion, but the plan never goes the same as you want it.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is the same, And if it wasn't
Yes.
for that, dude, I love waking up and watching the sunrise. I don't. That's what I want my life to consist of.
Yes.
I'm done. Getting drunk on the weekends, going to sleep late. I'm yeah. It's like your mind tends to evolve, and you want better things for yourself,
Yes.
and that's what I want, man. And I see it in
No,
you,
man.
and
Thank you, man.
and other people that I'm luckily to have got on the podcast and sit and talk, and it's beautiful, man. And having that, if in my 20s I had the people, or just the ounce of conversation I've had on this podcast, I'll tell you I'll be in a different level. It's all about
Mm-hmm.
also who you surround yourself with. And in
Yes.
my 20s,
But
if I had the right people, the route group,
mm-hmm.
the people, right people, meaning they want more for themselves, I'll tell you it will be a different story.
Yes, but I also realize now more than ever, you know what I'm saying? Like, as much as we beat ourselves about like
Mhm.
not having these resources now at our uh uh when we were at our younger self, the journey is different from anybody. You have to get to that journey in order
Yeah,
to get there.
that
You,
is
you,
true.
know, you have to get on that road and ride. Not to use another bike metaphor, but you have to get on that road and ride in order
Uh,
to find those new roads, in order to find those new, I'm saying, new doors, new bridges that will
yeah,
take you into a different place, and you can't be mad that, I'm saying, this was, this wasn't earlier, I'm saying, because you had to learn to ride the bike first
yeah.
before you get to that
Amen to
destination,
that. Amen to that.
before you learn how to get on that road, before
Amen
you
to
learn to
that.
get yourself away around, it's something that I constantly have to remind myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm 37. I know people that are in much greater situations than me, and I know people that are in worse situations than me. You know what I'm saying? And like, I just got to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's journey is different. You know what I'm saying? And everyone, as long as they adapt, stay strong, and keep going, they get to where they're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna just be journeys that's just different.
I wanna ask you one question. It's probably gonna be my last question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shaq got this from Jeff Bezos, right? That's his name,
Okay.
the CEO of Amazon, or he just stepped
Yeah.
down. He said he invested his money, and I apologize if I botched this. He said he invests in his money in ways that would help, the people, right? And that's what
Okay.
Shaq started doing. He realized that uh, being selfless, he invested his money being selfless, and invested in new things and to better his community. Let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has become more richer or
Yeah.
wealthier. Now this, I guess it's not a question, it's more as a statement. I see you doing things that you're investing in yourself, but investing in your community. And I think you're, you know, I think within a year or two, you'll probably fucking be driving a Tesla because
Maybe a bike made by Tesla.
because
You gotta get that license, brother.
you're shit. The way we're going, we probably won't even need it. Um,
Yeah,
but you're doing things that are inspiring and changing your community and bettering it. You know, here's a kid who grew up with difficult circumstances, and his goal is not to give and be bitter and give other people a heartache because he had a heartache. But I see this
mm,
kid who grew up with difficult circumstances and just trying to say, hey, I don't want people to go through what I went through. And you're bettering your community. Every person who's watching, you're inspiring them,
I
and
appreciate that, man.
you're going to do amazing and beautiful things. And it's only a matter of time because bikes will save the world.
Say, bro, I appreciate that, man. It's still surreal to me when people say that, because it's like, I mean, I don't know, this is the only way I know how to live my life and live it as peacefully as possible. Because it's like, I mean, I feel like it's so much effort, so much stress, and so much negative energy to honestly be a dick for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, just growing up. When I was a kid, it was weird. I just, and it's something that I keep doing as I got older. Whenever I go to a restaurant, and eat, whether I'm on a date or not, I would bust my own table. You know what I'm saying? I would stack the dishes up, and wipe the table. You know what I'm saying? Because like this waitress or this waiter is dealing with like a whole bunch of other tables that are probably not doing that. So let me do one less stressful thing. You know what I'm saying? What is the point of not taking that extra 2 minutes to just make someone else's job easier?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or just being nice to someone. I feel like it's so much more effort to just bring that negative energy into the world and not do stuff like that, not to consider something like that. And so, like, when people are less angry about just getting to work and, I'm saying, honking their horn, cursing people out, I'm saying, they go to work and they be a dick, and then, I'm saying, they go back home, they're still a dick because they're dealing with bad traffic, and then they go home, they're a dick to their families. What I'm saying? You're doing all this shit to be a dick, and it's helping what? No one. What I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like, just do like small common things that help you out, that help someone else out, and it just makes you feel good about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one of the things that's really great about riding a bike is that I never have to stress about getting to work on time because I'm always on time. Because, like, luckily, I've all my jobs have been like, what I'm saying, within riding distance, no more than an hour. And what I'm saying, and it allows me a clear state of mind to be efficient at my job. Like I was working at a gym, I would make coffee for my coworkers to a point where my coffee was so good, I was making coffee for the clients that was working at the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like we might as well just open up a cafe in the gym, which I suggested that and they never did. You know what I'm saying? So, but the energy just came from me just riding my bike to get there. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in more of a peaceful state of
Yeah,
mind. You know
you're
what I'm saying? I
clear
mean,
head minded, and
yeah.
that's
So, if you
important.
just find ways, yeah, if you find ways to keep your head clear, what I'm saying, you'd be amazed on how much you're able to just contribute to just even the smallest thing you did can contribute into like great things. And that's something I try to keep in mind, but at the same time still be humbled where it's like, it's just this. And so like, it's just it's so, it's so humbling and so awesome to hear someone say that, what I'm saying, I'm going to be doing all these great things, that I don't just think of it as compliments. I also take it as responsibilities because I want to prove you right, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that the only way to do it is to work hard. I don't feel like I've proved that yet. You know what I'm saying? Because and it's something that helps keep me going. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
thank
just
you. So I really
keep your head
appreciate it, and
down,
I hope that
keep your head down, keep doing what you're doing, and build consistency. And
yeah,
next thing you know, you look back and you build memories, you build an
yeah,
empire, you build happiness, you showed great gratitude and kindness, and you'll live life that you want to live, you know, and that's what
Yeah.
important.
I mean, I think I forgot what Denzel Washington said, but I think it was one of his speeches when he got an award for fences at the NAACP
You got
award.
one for fences?
Yeah, I think he got he got an NAACP
That was a
award for
good.
fences.
That was. It's not a fuck Oscars. They'll be snubbing people. They'll be snubbing good things.
Oh yeah, but he said something that was so dope. I was able to find it too. That really put fuel on my ass from like 2019 to now. He said, without commitment, you'll never start, but more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. You know, and I was just like, I am grateful I lived long enough just to hear those words.
Yeah.
Because that's some real fucking shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like to keep fucking going no matter what. It's like riding a bicycle. It's not, like
you're living. That's the most important part. You're living life, and you're living it as you want it and making you happy. It's fucking hard, man. Trust me, it's fucking hard. I made myself a goal, and I reach out in a day to 10 people who want to join the podcast. And out of those 10 people, sometimes nobody responds. And I don't take assault to that.
Yeah.
I see as I'm consistent. I set out to do something and I did it. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I have to realize, some people are going to be a part of things, some people are not. And that should not define the way you think, the way you act, the way you carry yourself. Keep moving fucking forward, brother. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, you move forward and just hope the others do and be proud if they do. And, I'm saying, like, accept what is when they don't,
Yeah, it's a mindset. And like Denzel Washington said, it's consistency.
Yeah,
But thank you for your time. Thank you for being on
the
show.
I appreciate it, man. I really do, man.
We definitely have to do this again. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
You got a lot of things going on, so
the
next time you'll be here, you're gonna have a lot.
Oh yeah, man. That's the goal. You just set a new goal now. Like, what I'm saying? Like, on this date, like the next time we do a podcast, whether it's 3 weeks from now, whether it's 3 years from now, I want to say this is happening. You know what I'm saying? Which is I want this conversation to be 150% the exact opposite.
Accurate.
You know what I'm saying? Different and much more updated.
That's what's up, man. Tell the people where they can find you. Give your plugins. Get everything you're doing. Let everybody know.
Yeah, I'm still working. I'm working on my website. All my information is on my website. Basically, it's DanielMorteh.com. Okay. Just basically my name, Morteh. I'm on Instagram as Kodaq Jonez. I've been thinking about changing the name. To be more updated, but people still know me as Kodaq. Kodaq with a Q, so it's KODAQ JONEZ. There's a website for Bikes Will Save the World. I really recommend you check out that website. It has a lot of people's stories on why cycling during COVID really helped them out in many, many ways. I also got t-shirts and apparel for sale on that website too. And if you go to Grove Street Bicycles, my boy Dio made some really dope shirts that are for sale out there. If you're gonna get some more too.
That's what's up, man. Go check them out, guys. You already know what to do. Daniel, thank you. It's been an honor, a privilege.
I appreciate it, man. Again. Definitely, brother. All right. Peace. Take care.